championship, but it was actually Aldeguer. There's Alex Marquez off to the right.
That's Marco Simoncelli's had a horrific crash. That's an awful, awful, awful crash here in the MotoGP.
So MotoGP has a new rule this year. While it's aimed at safety, they're going to end up getting somebody killed. And the worst part is it could be fixed as easily as pressing a button. MotoGP, the Formula One, if you will, of motorcycle racing. Prototype bikes, not based on a production machine, with some technology that trickles down to us. Yet some technology that needs to go to them that we're using. If you've never watched MotoGP, it's a pretty good racing. I mean, they tend to race on a lot of the Formula One tracks. Personally, I really enjoy it. At least I am right now, and hopefully that doesn't get ruined because somebody dies. Hopefully I don't have to go back to this video and go, well, I told you guys so. I'll give you a quick background on myself and how I got into MotoGP because it does relate. I really got into it around the mid-early 2000s when I got into riding. I was originally into sport bikes. I had an R6, I had an R1. Obviously, Valentino was just killing it at that time. We had Edwards in there, Kenny Roberts Jr. was in there, and Nicky Hayden was in there. I think that was really the first year I really closely followed it. Of all things, was the year that Nicky Hayden won. I mean, it was a great season. I also was keeping up with old Ben Speeds from America. But we watched Ben Speeds because he went over to World Superbike and won it his rookie season. It was crazy. Now we send over our best Americans for a couple, wild card races in World Superbike, and their Bobby Fong did not do well last year in World Superbike. He not Ben Speeds it over there, which we were kind of hoping he would, go show us you could do something. At least end up in the top 10, we might, you might get considered. Anyway, Ben was kind of a freak, right? And so he was destined for MotoGP. I was also watching another rider. This is where it's going to come into it. Marco Simoncelli won a 250 championship. That's like Moto2 now. He's also going to be moving to MotoGP. He was an interesting rider, and you knew he was one that could really do some stuff. I think he got runner-up that last season in 250. The season before that, he had won a championship. So he was coming over to MotoGP as well. So I was really pumped for that MotoGP season. And I'm watching it, and yeah, it's a good season, man. Right away, though, Marco Simoncelli, he's fast. You can tell he's fast, but he's aggressive, but he keeps causing accidents. He was actually being a bit too aggressive. Some of the other riders are expressing concern. I think he's getting in trouble with the stewards of MotoGP. I think I heard he had to go have a meeting with him after one particular race. I know Valentino kind of took him under his wing there, was kind of helping advise him and trying to coach him, and was working with him. I don't know whatever happened because after he got yelled at, the next race he comes out, he runs a good race, he's fast like we know he can be, and he gets on the podium. And after you've been like I was mad at the dude. I was like, come on, Marco, because you know he could be good. And then you see him get on the podium. And then you kind of get into it with these guys, you ride this roller coaster with them. And I really felt like Marco's one of those dudes he's got it in him to be a champion. Well, what happens?
That's Sepang a few months later.
At some point, I'm pretty sure this is fairly early in the race, the pack is tight, right-hand turn, the bike ends up crashing and veering across a pack of bikes. A very unusual wreck, one you don't normally see, and he actually veered right into the path of Colin Edwards and, of all things, Valentino Rossi, and they ran right into the back of him, right into his neck area. Right away, Marco Simoncelli's not moving. He is face down on the track. It's red flag. Everyone's emotional. They know it's really bad. They didn't wait long to tell us. Marco's passed away, and we're going to go and call the race for the rest of the day. We're going to be done. So how do you carry on a race after something like that happens? It was just terrible, man. You've been following this guy, attaching yourself, if you will, to this career of this rider. Here's the thing that nobody at the time really said. I think people have said it now. Everybody knew what happened in that wreck and why it happened, and that it was Marco's fault. There was no reason to bring it up. It was like, yeah. What happened was the bike, I'm pretty sure it loses the front, it goes down. He's fairly long-legged, long-elbowed. He tries to force it up. He tries that thing. We've seen riders do this, and sometimes they recover, and everyone, oh, that was amazing. Just a wonderful save. Boy, Alex there. Oh, it's just wonderful. It's like, we shouldn't even be praising this. By holding onto the bike like he did, by trying to force it up, he made it regrip and then force him into the line of bikes. 100% exactly what happened. It's his own fault. If he had just let it go, crashed off in the distance, would have been fun. Probably be a couple-time world champ by now. That's what I like to think. In my mind, you know what? Him and Valentino, they later hated each other because that's how Valentino is. You can't compete with him. He gets very upset. I am literally flashing on my fuel light. I should probably go get gas and quit farting around. So that wreck was rough. It was rough for me. I actually stopped watching MotoGP for several years. I always kind of kept up with what was going on. I followed Ben a little bit, but I was very distant until eventually I kind of just faded out. That's my background story, and it's relevant in MotoGP. These motorcycles do not have an electric start. They have to be started by either the rear wheel, use a little motor sometimes, like a motor on the side of it. When a motorcycle crashes, most of the time they're gonna stall out. So typically that means push starting them. Now this causes some problems. One, riders do already try to kind of hang on to the bike a little bit because of this. The other problem they didn't like seeing was these bikes trying to get restarted on the side of the track, maybe off to the side sometimes so they could find some, piece of pavement or something. And so this is usually a scene where the marshals are pushing the bikes, right? They're running and pushing the bikes, and they got a rider, like a 130-pound little Italian Spanish rider, trying to bump start the bike. They ain't got the ass to do it, so it takes like 25 attempts, and it's a hot race bike, race engine that's not exactly happy to start. So you have these scenes where people are trying to push start bikes, and they're in these marshals, and the riders themselves are kind of in a dangerous spot. Oh, everyone's crashing in turn 3 today. And so if you're over there in turn 3 trying to push start a bike, there's a good chance, a real chance, that maybe someone's gonna come flying in there and take you and the marshals out. And so the MotoGP stewards, in their wisdom, said, hey, we don't want to see that. That's dangerous. And you know what? They're right. I get that. And their fix for that, though, was they said that from now on, if a bike stalls, there's no restarting it out on the racetrack. Now they will have to actually get the bike off the track. The marshals are gonna come out, and they've already had riders like, what are you doing? When they're like, get off the bike, we're taking it off the track. And they're like trying to restart it. They're like, no, get off the bike. And they make them go around the wall, and then once they're back there, they might try to restart. That happens in the race. I think there's actually less argument with them because they know I'm just so out of the points at this part now. So, okay, they kind of let it go. Again, during qualifying or the practice to determine qualifying, I think this is going to make more issues. So as soon as I heard this rule, my thought was, man, riders are going to be hanging onto these bikes now when they crash to try to keep it from stalling. And we know what happens when you try to hang onto a bike that just went down. We saw that just recently with Fermin Aldeguer. Actually, is he Spanish? Old Aldeguer. That's how I'm going to say it now. Aldeguer. Practice session, he loses the front. And what does he do? He tries to hang on to it. Because of the way he held on to it, it veers him back right across the race line. Like just scary to watch a bike suddenly rip across a super weird line like that. That's the big thing on the track. You got to be somewhat with the flow and predictable. I tell people that go to the track for the first time, it's like, look, if nothing else, don't worry about getting out of my way. Just stay on the race line. You be predictable. Anyway, that's like the most unpredictable thing. No rider can contend with suddenly a bike flying across the track like that. Now, he got lucky. There was no one behind him. He just flew off the track. And, maybe he knew that, maybe he had some awareness of who was behind him. I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure it was on a hot lap. Might have been. I mean, either way, I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like a good deal. It seemed like he got lucky. When the bike is careening out from underneath him, if you look at what he's doing, he's got the clutch pulled in, he's held on tight. He could have just let this thing go. He didn't let go of it because he didn't want to have to have the bike stall and try to get back on it. Do all, he's trying to get a time. I think he's trying to get into Q2. In my opinion, that's exactly what was going on there. He's trying not to lose that bike. You'd have a hard time convincing me otherwise. What do you think the premium is right now? Because that's what this thing's going to take for sure. Well, it took me like 3 gas stations to find one that worked. Pay like $5-something for gas. Look at these drones. See these things? Aren't those weird? Yeah. Weird. As I was explaining, MotoGP has an issue right now, and an issue that could get somebody killed. Some people have said they should penalize these riders for doing that kind of thing, but they're gonna risk it, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna say, oh, I wasn't trying to hang on, my leg was pinned. They're just gonna say whatever, right? I'd prefer not to see somebody die in racing because they're trying to hold on to a bike, especially since it's just some bullcrap that entertains us. We don't need to watch it. Nothing in the world is going to be changed because of MotoGP racing. It's just entertainment. And even more so when you consider there's a really easy fix for this called an electric starter. World Superbikes got them. All the national racing bikes have them because they're built off production bikes. So I say, what's the big deal? Why can't we just run those? I say they mandate electric starters. That way when the bike goes down, you're not like, I got to hold on to, let it go pick it up and, hit a button and rejoin the race. Now they'll go, oh, it's going to add weight and this and that. Oh, we can't do that. No, you're going to require everyone to do it. In fact, here's what the FIM should do. Build the mechanism. The starter clutch, the starter, the wiring, the solenoid, and the battery we're going to require you to run now. Have FIM build it chunkier than it needs to be. I don't want to hear anyone cry about the weight it added. you're all running the same weight, stick it in the center of your engine somewhere, it'll be fine. And honestly, it's kind of the perfect time because they're all about to go to 850cc engines next season. Hey, you're already having to make changes to everything. We're gonna make you cram this in there now. Here's the deal, right? Like, I know they're gonna say, oh, it's gonna cost us millions to squeeze this starter in here now. It should have been told us over 2-3 years ago. Look, when I had my XR650R, kickstart only bike, right? There's like 3-4 different people at times that have made electric starters for that bike. One of the dudes is just some guy who clearly has access to some machining stuff, okay? He's not a millionaire. He's a guy with a CNC machine. If some guy in his garage with a CNC machine can make it work, then MotoGP manufacturers can shut the f up and they can do it. I'm not going to take anything away from the racing. It's going to make the racing safer. It's going to make it where we may not have to watch somebody die because they held onto a bike they didn't need to hang on to. I think they actually are talking about a bunch of rule changes going into next year, maybe even the rest of the year, because of the race that just happened where Alex got hurt, Zarco got hurt, we had 2 red flags. It was a really rough race. Like I said, it's one of them weekends where maybe you're just humble a little and you go, yeah, racing is dangerous. Motorcycle racing at the top level in particular is dangerous. So let's make it less dangerous and put starters on there. I don't know if this video is going to make any difference. You hope maybe that somehow this would end up in front of someone's eyes. It has a, that can make decisions and maybe gets the ball rolling. If nothing else, I can at least say I put this idea out there in the world. But what would you guys do if you were in charge? Like my idea, or do you have a better idea for this sort of thing? Should we just penalize the riders, Should we try to keep these bikes as light as we can and not put starters on them? Like, well, what would you want to see done? Or do you think maybe these are just freak things and they're not likely to happen? If you want to discuss it with me over the phone, you do have an option to do that. It's called join my Patreon or YouTube members. That will get you linked into the Discord. You can jump into voice chats, which I'm in pretty regularly, numerous times a week. Typically, I'm in the voice chats in the evenings, hanging out with the boys. Sometimes we play video games. We have a video game chat. Remember to use the video game chat. It's the worst. We hop in there. I know it happens on accident, but you hop into the chat and there's like, you're trying to have a chat and 2 of the dudes in there are like playing a video game together out of like the 5-6 people in there. And you're like, guys, we have a gaming chat. Then I just drag them in there aggressively. Oh, yeah, anyway, jump in the chat. If you're interested in this motorcycle, this giveaway motorcycle, man, get on that, dude. This is a cool bike. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next video.
Ciao. Ciao, ciao.